Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, and perhaps even good evening. It is wonderful to see you all. Mr. Brian, Mr. or Mrs. Yoshi, I don't actually know your gender, but that's totally cool. And my mom is here, and anyone else who's out there watching, thank you so much for dropping by and welcome. I haven't really slept well, so I got up really early this morning at around 4 a.m. and ever since then, Julia and I have done extremely cool things with 3D things. Julia is building her core game, and she's also playing with GitHub for the first time. So GitHub for desktop, for version controlling. So collaborative working is ahead, and it's all very, new ground for her. So it's super exciting that that Julia is making strides in that direction. And I've been playing with the Substance Painter, which is really, really nice. So I thought I'm going to continue in the same spirit, maybe even show you what I've learned. I'm following another course that is on the Substance site, I think for a slightly older version of Substance Painter. And it's just marvelous what you can do. Like they give you a little robot and you put weathering effects on and extend things onto different material zones. And let's see how much did actually stick. So one of those things. Let's see if we can look into that. And then of course there's always While True Learn. That is something else we can look into if we have the time. But I thought I'd start the day with a bit of a demonstration for one of my new supporters, Izabelle. Hello, Izabelle. She was asking me, hey, I'm using ZBrush and I'm using DAZ Studio. I'd like to interchange items there, but she's on a Mac. So for Izabelle, the GoZ plugin doesn't work because the friendly people from DAZ haven't quite updated that yet. So DAZ Studio 4.16 is available for the Mac. ZBrush 2022 is available for the Mac, but the GoZ link doesn't seem to work. I've tried this out, but it doesn't seem to work on my Mac either. So since I have a brand new installation here, I thought we'll start by installing GoZ on my computer, because that is currently not installed. So I'll, watch over my shoulder as I do that. And then once we've done that, we'll try and use it like interchangeably. And then once we've done that, I'm going to go and show you how to do this without GoZ. It's a little bit more cumbersome, a little bit more clunky, but this is something that Izabelle is interested in. So I thought, this is going to be the perfect session for this. Do you know your tulips? I thought so. I thought Brian has actually released an NFT collection, which is seriously cool. And it is all about tulips, because it was it's a good nod to how the tulip bulb craze back in the 1600s happened. So very nicely done. Nice to put that time-lapse thing in your trailer there. Actually, give yourself a shout-out, !Brian, and you can check it out. And you can find out all about the relationship between tulips and NFTs. Very cool. Let's get started with DAZ Studio. So currently I can see the GoZ plugin isn't installed, because if I navigate up to File, Send To, there's only Bryce and Hexagon here. So usually I have an option that says Send to ZBrush, but that isn't showing, and that gives me a clue that currently this thing isn't installed. So I'm going to go and close DAZ Studio down again and go straight back to Install Manager, where I'm going to go and install that little puppy. So Install Manager, I prefer it over DAZ Central. That is not to say, thank you, Brian, that is not to say that DAZ Central isn't going to work for this. But it does mean that I haven't tried it out. So I know it works with Install Manager. And if you have issues with DAZ Central, give Install Manager a go. There's a video on my channel that explains how you get your hands on it. So what we need to search for is GoZ, of course, but before we even do that, we need to tell Install Manager where ZBrush is installed. I have two versions installed, 2021, the legacy version, and 2022, and they're both working with the plugin. I'm going to use 2022. I've tried it out. It is working marvelously well. All we need to do is come up here to that little gear icon and head over to Advanced Settings. And then we need to go over to Applications. And we need to tell Install Manager where ZBrush lives. So that's the first part of the puzzle. With the little plus icon, we can pick an application here. I'm going to use ZBrush, and 2022 isn't populated in the menu, so we'll just use 2021 here. Just as a version number, we will choose 2022 because that is what works with DAZ Studio currently. So let's go navigate there. that is of course somewhere on my C drive under program files in Pixologic. And then under ZBrush 2022, that is the folder we need. Select the folder, and then we'll hit in a minute, perhaps. Yeah, there we go. Hit accept as soon as it populates. Boom. And now Install Manager knows about ZBrush. And, you know, don't worry about the version number here. It's all good. We'll hit accept, and then we'll go and install it. So we'll look for GoZ or GoZ. I have two versions here. One isn't actually for DAZ Studio. This one's for Carrara, so let's not use that. Let's use this one here, GoZ for DAZ Studio 4.16. Also make sure DAZ Studio is in fact closed down, so it's not open right now. So I'm going to go hit start the queue. That'll download this, and that'll also install it. It's super fast and easy and quick script, and that's all the help we need from Install Manager. So we can go and close him down and open up DAZ Studio 4.16 again and see if those menus are there now. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And if they're not there, well, then we'll start panicking. But I thought it'd be good to show the process of how cool it is to have GoZ installed and interchange items, and then also how, you know, how you can work around it. So I'm hoping that when I go over to File, Send To, I now have a ZBrush option. So that means the plugin is correctly installed. Well, it's, you know, we know it's installed, so we don't know if it's going to work yet, but we'll hope for the best. Under Edit Preferences, there's another little dialog that you can set, and that is here under Bridges. In case you didn't know about this, this is a new thing that once you install the plugin, you have show options here, yes, and you have also got update path here, yes or no. So this is an option you can display or not. This is just what happens, what pops up when you when the plugin comes up. So we'll leave those at the defaults, because I think that might just work. Let's see what happens if I bring in a figure, and we'll just try it with my stream safe textures here. I'll just use Genesis 8. And we'll give her an item of clothing as well, and then we'll go and send it over to ZBrush, and we'll see if it works. And then usually the application is that you go and make some adjustments in ZBrush. So maybe basic shorts, and then also maybe sports bra. Perfect. And in a real life situation, you may also have a pose here, and you may also have a custom character morph. So maybe shall I start with a pose? Let's see if we have poses here. Any pose will do. Just so that we see the character is in fact in a posed position. If that's a good pose or not, that's kind of debatable, but maybe we'll use this one. It's less extreme. Or maybe this one. Let's use that. Mr. Nate, how is it going? Brian and Nate, the next DAZ event, by the way, is next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you can make it. Be good to have you guys as moderators there again. I don't know what the subject matter is going to be, but, you know, let's think outside the box. Maybe we can come up with something. And Mr. Chris is here. Top of the morning. How you doing, sir? So we'll use this, and I'll go and send this over to ZBrush. In an ideal world, ZBrush doesn't need to be started manually. I just have to select my figure and say send over to ZBrush. And there's two options that come up here, and it means export at the current resolution and export with deformations. So I don't need to set the bottom one because I only have a base character, but if you had a custom character, then we'd need to use the base option here. The top one, export at current resolution, is supposed to be unticked because that will make ZBrush convert the character into base resolution before sending it over. So currently the character is in the high resolution, and that is not what we can send to ZBrush, or we can send it to ZBrush, but then when we make a morph, we can't really send it back. So this needs to be unticked, and this we can leave both unticked. If you have a custom character, then this needs to be ticked. So we'll just use this one, and hope if I hit accept, things should open up. So ZBrush is opening, and we'll see what happens. Thank you, very good, Brian. Right, yes. Very good point, yes. Many creators make that point that, you know, do set a reminder, do set the notification bell. That's true. I always forget to do that. So thank you, Nate. And Jay hasn't slept all that well. So Jay's a little bit tired this morning, but hey, it's one of those things. Jay is battling through it. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. So in here on the top right, I can see that Genesis has in fact come in. Let me go hit comma to take this out. So Genesis has in fact come in, and I can go and left click and drag her out. And she has come in with all the clothing subtools, which is great. So drag her out, hit edit, and then we go and frame her up. And this is our figure, which is awesome. So she is now just in the A pose. So I should have probably said sent over with deformations. Then the pose would have come across as well. But just to see this little gadgety thing here in action, it's how do I do this again there? If you wanted to sculpt on something, these are subtools now. You can go and sculpt on any of these with, I think, somewhere in geometry, not in subtool. There we go. So if I wanted to select the shorts here and then go start sculpting, what I must do is make sure that I think Z add is... No, that's fine. Z add can be on. I think the only thing that we need to make sure is we mustn't add geometry or remove geometry. So let's say make a morph like this. Not that I'm good at sculpting, but let's say this is our morph. So the magic of GoZ is now that I can go and click this little button at the top here, at the top right, and that should send this thing back to DAZ Studio and create a morph from it. If you have multiple versions of DAZ Studio installed, you can head over here to, I believe, was it Preferences? Yes, Preferences, and then there's GoZ at the bottom here. If you select that, you can set the path to DAZ Studio. So if you're working with the beta version, or you'd like to switch from one version to another, then you can set the path to the application you'd like to work with. So I currently have the regular version of DAZ Studio and the beta, so you can tell ZBrush about that. So if you'd like to switch to the beta, you can change that here. There we go, but I'm good with the regular version, so that's cool. So then all I do is hit GoZ button up here. ZBrush does some bits and pieces, and then meanwhile back in DAZ Studio we should get this little dialog that now brings in a morph. So I have a feeling it's probably not going to work because I didn't export the deformation. So let's see what happens if I do this. Does it? Well, looks like it's been okay here. Nothing seems to have happened, but that's only because my morph should have been created in my Basicware shorts. So under parameters, morphs, and I have the ZBrush morph here. And if I go and crank that up, then my shorts get wide. So it's kind of exactly what I'm expecting. So again, if I wanted to change this, if I wanted to bring this character over in the pose, which is probably the thing you'd like to do more, then you'd do File, Send to ZBrush, and then you'd select the the bottom one here, Export with Deformations, and then the pose character comes in. So then you can make adjustments and stuff. So there we go. Me too, Nate. One of those things. But so GoZ is magic because it literally just works like that, and I really like that. So if I go and make a new document here. Let's just try this one more time with deformations. We don't want to save this new document. Let's go File, Send to ZBrush, and we'll use deformations now, just for my own understanding here. It takes a moment to arrive. Reading GoZ file, it says here, so let's give it a minute. How's your mom, Nate? If she's watching, hello, Dragonate's mom. Good to see you. Still reading the GoZ file, or not. I'm not entirely sure. Has this worked? What happens when we drag this out? Oh, there we go. She is somehow wonky. Oh, I know what happened. Let's go new document. New document. I think I had the Basicware shorts selected. That was my mistake. I should have selected the whole figure, and then all clothing items would come over. So I had the shorts in the pose position, but no figure arrived. So let's go and select the figure. Very important. Send to ZBrush. and then export with deformations. And that should now bring over my post figure and the subtools with the clothing. So one of those things, practice makes perfect. Chris, did you see Brian's new tulip NFT collection? Very exciting. Loving the nod to what happened with tulips in the 16th century, by the way. Left click and drag that out. Edit, frame up, and there she is. So now she's posed, and now we can go and mess with this in the posed position. So if we have poke through or whatever, we can go and fix that, just like we did before. So it's the same thing. Pick the subtool that you'd like to work on. Say the bra up here, and then we go and make that wider, eliminate poke through or whatever needs to be done. Just make sure the geometry stays exactly the same. So don't remesh this, or don't subdivide this and then send the subdivided version back, because that's not going to work. With that, hit GoZ, and then in here we'll say, hey, this is another ZBrush morph. Let's go accept this, and then in my top here, I can go and select this, and there's my morph. You can rename that, and this is the whoops. That's the basic way shot. Sorry, bra, wrong item selected. And then this is what we've just done in ZBrush. So, but again, what this does, what this GoZ plugin does, is that it eliminates a lot of hard work that we'd otherwise have to go through. And I will show you the same thing now without GoZ, because that's not working for Izabelle. So let's go and in fact make a brand new scene and just start again completely from scratch. We'll do the same with ZBrush. Here we'll come out of edit mode. Don't switch, it's fine. Just create a new document. And don't save, it's totally fine. Right. This is going to be a little bit tricky, but it will work. I do promise you that. So you can choose a custom character, you can choose a regular character. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to use, maybe I will try and use a morphed character. I might use a Genesis 8.1 character and put a custom morph on it, and we'll see how that works. Just for the skin textures, I'll give her that, and I'll go and give her some clothing from the basic collection, because I haven't got any other content installed. Do you remember I've been having a bit of a computer issue, and I'm still in the middle of installing all my content. So most of my applications are back, but it's not quite at a point where I could, where I can work with content yet. But everything works, and it's a faster computer, so it's all, it's all exciting. Let me go over to figures and make this the, is there not the, didn't I install Yvonne earlier? I thought that was an 8.1 character. I thought we would go, because filter by contents is active. So this is a custom character here. I'll just use the shaping and give her this body shape. So it looks different than the regular character, and we can see there's some poke through on the bra. Maybe I can fix it. I'm not good at sculpting, so apologies in advance. And then of course poke through can also happen when we put a bit of a pose on our character. So let's see where it's probably in here. Poses, we'll use the same one as before, like this one here. Perfect, because everyone has it, everyone can follow along. So now if you don't have GoZ, with GoZ one-click operation, if you don't have GoZ, you have to get creative. So first of all, you have to open this, and let's say we want to fix the bra. We want to go and export the figure as well as the clothing item separately, and we need to fix those. We need to export those both as OBJ. So the reference figure, just so that we know what we're sculpting around, and then we go and export the clothing item separately. We need to import them both into ZBrush manually, and then we need to do our sculpting, and then we need to export only that one subtool. So that's a bit of a tricky process, but yeah, you can't do this combined like you can do with GoZ. GoZ separates these things out, but yeah, we need to do this. Before we do that, however, we need to change both the figure and the clothing item to base resolution, and that happens over here under parameters, under mesh resolution. And so by default, they're all set to high resolution. We need to set this to base. And the reason for that is, it's not so much for the character right now, but for the clothing item. The reason for that is that we that we need to import our changes. Usually we want to import our changes as a morph, and that means we need to go down to base resolution so that the morph loader can import this as a morph properly. And if that is on high resolution, the geometry has changed over what morph loader can deal with, and then you get that error message. So we'll go and make the clothing invisible, select our figure, and go and export her out as an OBJ. And I'll make a new folder on my desktop so that we remember what that was. Don't know why Windows sometimes takes so long to do this. It's just, shouldn't have clicked that. Sometimes it just does this. And usually when you click something else and click back, then the folder appears. I sadly clicked on a network drive for a computer that's currently not switched on, so tricky. It was actually, yes, it's a new computer that I bought a while ago, about 6 months ago. And I had always intended, oh, come on, dude. You do this once, Windows tries forever to connect to a computer that's not currently switched on. It's so painful to watch. But hey, thank you, Windows. That's much appreciated. So yeah, I've bought that computer about 6 months ago. Thanks, Windows. I know that. That's cool. But thank you for letting me know. That's all awesome. Super awesome of you. ZBrush test, I'll call it. And I have held off on using it only because the layout of the motherboard was different, and I can't by default use both my GPUs in there. So I held off using it because the old one was kind of working, and I had always planned to use a new one. But it's one of those things. So now that I had this computer crash recently, I thought I might as well switch to the newer computer. I had reinstalled everything on the old computer, and it was all back up and running. And then, of course, what happened was that the computer didn't quite behave as it did before. So it was kind of lagging during editing. And I thought, you know what, I should just really switch to the new computer. And to just finish that story off, I have bought a couple of PCIe extenders or like riser cables that allow me to put one graphics card in the computer and the other one just, next to it. And that's the configuration I'm running now, and it's working well. So very good. Kevin, welcome. I'm glad you are too, because I am too. I too am very disappointed in the Metamorpher. Yes, that is very, very true. It is such a shame, but I believe we had this discussion before. Metamorpher doesn't do anything that you can't do with the regular Puppeteer environment yourself, with as many morphs as you want, with any of the morphs that you already own, without having to purchase anything else. So, I don't really need a snazzy interface. This kind of fake imposed onto the thing. It's just really not my cup of tea, so I'm glad you didn't enjoy it either, because I didn't either. Welcome, and welcome, Neville. Wonderful to see you too. So we're going to just export this as OBJ with essentially everything that we can see here. So all the defaults. Just make sure you pick DAZ Studio and just export it all. We don't really need the maps in this case, but it's fine. I'll just leave them in place. So this was the Genesis character. Now I'll go and make her invisible and bring the sports bra back. Select the sports bra and export that also. I'll just call this bra, hit save, and that's that. I was kind of expecting a bit of a dialogue here. I guess that didn't happen, but it's okay. Oh, there's the dialog. Perfect. So don't know what's wrong with my new Windows installation. Why does this take so long? I really can't tell you. So these are the two items exported. Now comes the interesting part, namely importing those things manually into ZBrush. Now, ZBrush is, of course, made by insane people. Sorry, Pixelogic. It's just not very intuitive, and it's a bit difficult to get going here. So we can import something via this here, import. But I believe the slot that you have currently selected does mean something. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. Import and go ZBrush test. I'm gonna go and bring my post Genesis 8 figure in. Righty, so I'll say open, and that brings my figure in here, which is nice. So I can now go and drag her out. Left click and drag. Oh my goodness, it's the feet. It's the feet, man. I'll step into edit mode, and I'll go frame that up, and so that's neat. That's our figure in base resolution. So the interesting bit is now, how do we append that that item there? So I can see that on the right hand side under subtool, I already have the other two items here that I don't really need those anymore. So I can go and delete them somehow, I think with the delete option. Yeah, that's cool. We want to delete that, and we want to delete this as well. So if you close and open ZBrush again, the same thing will happen. So I should only have one tool here, which is the figure. And now I need to bring in my shorts. And I believe that happens by, you can't just hit the import button again, because what happens then is it'll just overwrite this tool, basically the slot into which it was imported into. It's a little bit, you know, so we have to select something else, like the cylinder, for example. And when we do that, then of course our character kind of disappears. But it's all fine, and it's apparently all totally meant to happen, and it's not, it's just there to throw you off, I guess. So you just go and hit import again, hit the bra, import that. And no wonder nobody figures this thing out. And after a short while, we should see the bra in the slot of the cylinder. There we go. So now the bra and the figure are two separate tools. Also notice that the bra is now selected, which is also not exactly what we had drawn out. So complete confusion there. All we need to do is select the Genesis figure again. So just click on it. Don't draw anything else out again. We're already in edit mode, so you just go and click on it, and then our character comes back. And that is, you know, awesome. Or something. So now we go down here, I believe, and we say, this is in the subtool menu. Now we go and click append. And that will now let us choose another OBJ that we can import here. So let's do that, append. Then a new palette opens up. If you think you can just hover to the top palette here, you're mistaken, because then the bottom palette moves away, and it's not the top palette that we've just used to import the item that we used to select the item, which makes perfect sense. So what we need to do is go hit down on append here, and then pick the bra from here, from this mini picker. And as soon as we do that, it'll go and append itself here, and thankfully also in the correct position. So that's ZBrush for us, but hey, that's totally fine. So with the bra selected, I believe I can pick frame, and now we can do our adjustments to the clothing item. So it's all base resolution, which is why it looks a little bit chunky, but you know, be that as it may. So I think that the interesting bit now is when we go and make a change. Let's say we do the same as we did before. We go and make it, we make it a little, wider. We do not? Can't tell if it's thinking about it or if it's just not letting me do it. Am I not sculpting on this? I thought I am. Nothing appears to be happening. I can sculpt on, no, I can't sculpt on the figure either. Why not? Z add A. That's got me stumped, because last time I tried this, you can just go and sculpt on the on your model now, which I guess I can't do anymore. Is it because what's happening here? I am doing something. It's just not. Oh, because it's the size, isn't it? There we go. It's the, I suppose the figure size was a little off. Whoops, sorry. There we go. So we can't do it. We can't do it. It's just my size was a little off. I don't really know why. I'm not a, I don't do much in ZBrush for these reasons, because GoZ just keeps it all together. But you know, doing it manually, that's I can understand why you have so many problems, Izabelle. So let's say this is our masterpiece sculpting here. Let's just say that. Do you know? Yes, Brian, that is absolutely true. People say Blender is badly designed. It isn't really. Blender, you know, you get used to Blender. ZBrush, I've had it since 2014. I still haven't gotten used to it. And I only use it very rarely. But I think it's also about my attitude towards learning these things. I got to be brutally honest, because this interface freaks me out so much that I keep saying while I watch tutorials, while I try to do things, I keep saying to myself, I don't get it. This is difficult. This is impossible. I don't get it. So I keep saying that over and over. And as a result, and it's kind of an interesting observation, as a result, I don't get it. So I turn into reality the attitude that I bring towards learning this. So, and another example, and I have the same thing with Substance Painter as well. I keep thinking, hey, this is made by insane people. This is difficult. And the moment I leave that attitude at the door and just doodle around and free flow and experiment, I actually have a good time and I do take things in. So it is really, it is our attitude that sometimes prevents us from learning things. So just thought I'd put that out there. Yeah, she's got the worm bra, absolutely. Yes, I can imagine you raging all over it, Nate. I can totally imagine. And you too, Yoshi. Yes, I can. It's nice to hear that that I'm not the only one who thinks that this program is a little bit insane. It has great features, you know, and I'm so happy that I can still get updates and stuff. But it's one of those things. This bug here, for example, that's been in there for over 10 years. When you just move the cursor, the figure disappears. So you just have to go and move it, and then it comes back. It hasn't been fixed. Don't think it's ever going to get fixed, but that's okay. So the difficulty is now in exporting my morphed version. So I think I select this here at the top. So this is the bra in here, not the one down here. It's this one here, which if you look really closely, it has all my changes on here. So I select this, and then this palette comes up, and then you hit export. So this is now the bra changed, I suppose. Just to put something in here, and I hit this is the format down here, OBJ, and hit save. And that's our bra exported with the morph that we want to make. So then I go back over here into DAZ Studio, and with my bra still selected, I can go and say edit object morph loader pro. And with a bit of luck, I should be able to go and choose the morph file that I need, which is on the desktop under ZBrush test. WTL, by the way, Brian, this isn't What the Luck. It is actually, this is What the Luck is Brian's book. He's an author of humorous science fiction novels. If you haven't checked into that, he's written a series that's called Zero Kelvin, hence his username, Brian Kramer, aka Zero Kelvin. He's written a few books, and I've narrated a couple of them. And WTL, What the Luck, used to be the abbreviation for the book while I was working on it. But in this case, it means While True Learn, I believe. I just thought I'd put that out there. So there we go. I'll go onto my desktop and I'll import the bra changed here. This is the thing that I've got, that I've just exported from ZBrush. The Trader, top of the morning. How you doing? Kev Dog, how you doing? You have a shoe problem. Oh dear. We're dealing with bra problems this morning. So I'll go and open that, and Morph Loader should now bring up this little dialog here, and in it I need to select reverse deformations. That's usually set to no. I need to set it to yes, because I have both a pose and I have a morphed character as well. And if I say accept, then I should see, not that. That's, that's not good. Loading morph bra change geometry did not match, failed to create the morph. So that's an issue, and that happens when the geometry is in fact different. So just to check what's gone on there, I may have accidentally imported the combined version of these two. Could have happened. I'll just go and import this straight into DAZ Studio just to have a look at it. See if it comes up. Import options. Yeah, I think we're just going to use DAZ Studio import options. So funny when you do this for the first time on a new system, all kinds of things come up that you didn't see before. So to me, it looks okay, but it could well be that the vertex order or something like that has changed, and that's why I couldn't import it. So I don't know if you've had the same problem, Izabelle, then that's a bit of a tough one. So this usually suggests that on export something's gone wrong. And again, GoZ would just take care of all the resolution bits and pieces. So just to make absolutely sure, this was in in base resolution, wasn't it, when I exported it? I just want to make absolutely sure. No, you see, I've forgotten. Why was that? Ah, man, I think I've forgotten to switch it. So that was totally my mistake. So this is a great example of what happens when you export it at high resolution. It gets into ZBrush in high resolution. It comes out of ZBrush in high resolution, and then the morph doesn't work. So this was entirely my mistake. I must have switched the shorts to base resolution. Let's check. No, they're also high resolution. Why? I have myself on tape switching this to base resolution. Pretty sure about this. But that's okay. We'll go and do this again. So it's now definitely base resolution. Everything else is disabled. I'll go and export that bra again. Kind of cool that this has happened. I'll go and I'm just going to call this bra again. I'm going to overwrite the previous file. It's good practice, this. And now back in ZBrush, I'm going to go and delete this subtool. I don't need that version anymore. It's totally cool. And I'll go and, just like before, I'll go and import it now. I'll pick something else. Maybe maybe this bra, actually. I'm going to go pick this bra because I want to overwrite this. So I'm going to go and pick import and pick bra and pick open. And here it is. Now I go back, switch to my post Genesis figure. Remember, this is this ever so slight insanity in ZBrush that we just need to deal this way. And then we go and append at the bottom here. Pick the bra we've just imported from here and pick it, and then it comes up, and now it looks like it's pretty much base resolution. Alrighty, fantastic. Ouchie. Oh, every time you exported your character with boots on, Kev, it disappeared in ZBrush. Ouch. That is, sometimes ZBrush has this thing that when you go and when you do nothing, the character just disappears. Have you tried wiggling the viewport? I know it's not the fix you probably want to hear about, but it's it just sometimes brings the character back. If nothing arrives, I mean, ZBrush is a difficult beast. I really don't know all that much about ZBrush. I'll go and switch to my bra, and I'll see if I can go and smooth this out here a little bit and make some kind of change that looks less horrible. So this is usually what you do. You also work with what's it called, with symmetry, not like I do. I'm just hacking bits off here. I'm just gonna make this change here just so that we see something has happened. There. So this has now happened in base resolution. So let's go and export this from here. So you click on it. No, hang on. You click on it here, and then you say export. I'm going to overwrite the same file as I did before. So bra changed. I'm going to overwrite that. Yes, I want to replace it. It's cool. And now am I having another computer issue? Like 20 seconds later, DAZ Studio says, hey, do you want to overwrite that file? I thought that had already happened. Man, yes, sir. We have to do this for the third time because my export just wasn't base resolution then. Dang. But that's cold. Let's go do this a third time lucky. Come on, third time lucky. Okay, delete. Yes. Isabelle, we're going to do this. I'm going to pick the bra here, and I'm going to hit import just so that I can finally overwrite this version of that godforsaken clothing item. I'll go and switch back to my post character. I'll head over down here to append. I pick the bra from the list. Is it now base resolution? It's hard to say. To me, it looks similar to what we had before. But hey, let's try this again. So we draw something on there. We draw a doodle. It looks chunky enough, so let's hope it's base resolution this time. And maybe we'll go and smooth this out. Alrighty, perfect. It's J's special morph. Pick this from here. Whoops. Pick this. Make sure we don't navigate away from that panel. Hit. No, not import. Dang, brother. Hit export. Right. Export. Hello. Waiting for dialogues to pop up here. Did you do it? Export. There we go. Bra changed. Let's try this one more time. Third time lucky. Yes. Please overwrite. man. Oh, really? It's Kevin, that is really, really nice to hear. Sometimes it's not so fun for me, you know. But if it's fun for you, hey, that's good to know. I appreciate you saying that. Let's see what happens now. So edit the object, Morph Loader Pro. Go and put the bra changed in here and hope this time it is in fact the base resolution thing that we wanted to do. So once again, important to remember, reverse deformations need to be set to yes, because we had them not in the A pose and it wasn't a base character. It was a morphed character and was a posed character. So in those moments, it needs to be set to yes. And survey says, morph created successfully. Oh my God. This is awesome, or what? So it can be done. It just might need a couple of tries. Under morphs, we have the bra changed, and it'll do exactly what we had in ZBrush. And then, of course, for rendering or for whatever else you want to do with it, you can go back to mesh resolution and then set this back to high resolution. And then you have all the kind of as high res detail as you can get there. And if you're not too worried about importing morphs, if you want to work in high resolution, you can do that as well. You can go send everything in high resolution to ZBrush and then go and do your bits and pieces on it. Then export the high res version back. Just know that that character is then no longer posable unless you use the transfer utility on it, or and you have to apply the materials again. But it will, I think, in principle work. This HD morph thing, this is something that is, there's a tool that PAs get with which you can do that. You essentially export a high-res version to ZBrush, and then on import, I think it's called the HD morph loader. It will reverse calculate the HD data. So you basically bring in the base morph as well as a HD morph, and then under the hood, DAZ Studio kind of reverse calculates it and turns it into morph. It's proprietary technology, so PAs need to sign an NDA for this. They're also not allowed to sell products on marketplaces other than DAZ 3D, because it's one of those things. It's proprietary tech. Thank you, Brian. So that, Izabelle, is how you do this. Sorry it took so long, but we got there in the end. Woo! Trader, that is interesting, actually. I didn't think you were a non-English speaker either. So, welcome to the non-English speaker club. I'm not a native English speaker either. We will one day dominate the world. Oh, Neville, that is bad. That is bad to hear. I wonder if you... so this is DAZ Studio 4.16, and I haven't noticed any slowdowns. I mean, like, other than the ones that I've just shown you. There is a beta version, which is slightly better. So I've actually confirmed with what Chris was saying, that the new features here for the library palette, they are not in this current release version of DAZ Studio 4.16. So hold down Shift and then scroll. Chris was totally right. It doesn't work for me either in the release version. So I tend to work with the beta version side by side. So what I tend to do is I have both of these installed. This is the release version here, and this one is the beta version. And sometimes the beta is exactly the same as the release version. Sometimes the beta is a little bit ahead of the release version and basically gives you features that will make it into the release version at one point. But currently the beta is ahead. I haven't quite configured this yet, but if you go over here, then in the beta, you hold down Shift and you scroll slow. And then you can go and hold down Control and it scrolls one page at a time. So it kind of scrolls fast. And then if you don't do anything, it just goes and scrolls whatever you did before. So yes, Chris was completely right about this. These features are not in the release version, they're in the beta. And the beta is currently at 4.16.1, whereas the release version is 4.16.0. There we go. Yes, that is correct, Nate. I am originally from Germany. That's true. So that's the language that I learned growing up. Arab Senior. Okay. Rafet, welcome to the stream. I used to be, do you know, when I learned English, that was, I mean, we tend to learn English at a really young age at where's that, 5th grade, I think, in Germany. So 5th grade, 6th grade, something like that. So really early on. And it's the first secondary language that you learn. And then the 7th grade, they expanded into, it's a choice of French or Latin. And then 9th grade, you can add whatever you didn't pick or something else like Greek. And, you know, all kinds of languages that we were taught there. And English was the first one that I learned, and we had a really good American teacher at school, so I picked up an American accent, and that is how I used to speak when I first came to London. And of course, you know, watching a lot of American TV shows and stuff, everyone in England, when I started working there, they thought I was from America, and that was quite a compliment, I had to say, because they didn't spot the German accent. When they listened closely, they could tell, but I was completely American. And then being surrounded by British speakers, I suppose my accent must have changed. So this didn't happen deliberately. This just kind of crept in. And at one point, it was just more British than it was American. And then it was more British than anything else. And today, it's this weird mixture where you can tell, well, there's some kind of accent going on. We're not entirely sure if it's Scandinavia, could be Holland, could be South Africa. The weirdest one I've had was, what was that? New Zealand, I think. And I thought, really, that's a bit far-fetched, but hey, one of those things. So hey, this was good. I'm glad I could show this to Izabelle. I'm glad I could make GoZ work in DAZ Studio. I thought the other thing I could show you is a little project in Substance Painter that I've made, and let me see if I can recreate this. Brian, maybe I need some tips here. Anyone else who's out there who has experience with Substance Painter? I'm still very much learning this program. I find it fascinating. It's super awesome. It is. I can't wait to be able to use it better. And let me show you what I've done there. I called the file, of course, something like unsuccessful test number 2. It wasn't actually as unsuccessful. So here we go. This is the little robot guy, and these project files actually come with a little tutorial on the Substance website for, I think, Painter 2021 maybe, but it's without the when it didn't have the Adobe branding yet. And I'm quite chuffed here, I must say. This is just so cool, the stuff that I've been able to put in here into this little robot. It starts out, of course, as a super clean, super fresh little guy, and I've been able to put all these little blemishes on there. So this is all very exciting. And it has 2 material zones, I believe. It has one for the head and one for the bottom here, for the feet and stuff. So I'm super chuffed that I've been able to follow that tutorial and you know, do things. Still not entirely sure about the navigation here. I'm still scrambling with that a little bit. Oh, there we go. Yeah, very nice. So it starts out as an FBX, and then you go and put all these exciting effects on there. And it has to do with the big layer stack, of course, and it has to do with masking, and it has to do with all kinds of other things. And some of the things I've learned in that tutorial, I'd like to go through again and just, you know, refresh it in my mind, and maybe I can remember them all, and I can share it with you. I can also share the link to the tutorial with you, I believe. Actually, I might put it in the description because it'll take me some scrambling from the other computer. I'll do that. So there we go. This so one thing I was struggling with before was when I bring in an item from Chris, for example. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. And good morning, Emerga. Good afternoon. And the Sacred Sage is here. Very good. What again the high-res exporter is called, Kevin? I believe it's called the HD Morph Loader Pro. So it's essentially a plugin that you have to install. It has a serial number, and not everyone is given that. It's not available to everyone. You have to be a PA with DAZ, and that's a long process to get there. Once you are that, you can also apply for the HD Morph Loader Pro, and then they will give you a serial number. Yeah, that's what it's called, and it's a tiny script, and they've developed it, if I'm correct, they've developed it in partnership with Pixar. It's a very high-profile project, that, and its magic lies in the fact that it can reverse calculate subdivision levels. Quite exciting stuff. Quite exciting stuff. All right, look at that. I remember now. You told me, yes, you were asking me if that's okay with me, and it's completely okay with me. And it's wonderful to hear that that it has an acceptance. This is great. That's really nice. So with substance here, the one thing I was struggling with was if I bring in an item from Chris that has either no material zones because I've obliterated them to save myself some work on exporting the maps. It has this problem of how do I select a whole UV island, or how do I select the whole material if the materials are no longer there? And there is in fact a way to do this. Let me show you this. Let me go and make a new document here. This I've learned about as well. For DAZ Studio, this has to be set to OpenGL. This here, I'm still not entirely sure which of these 400 million presets I need to pick, what difference it makes. I only know that ASM, I think that's either short for ASMR or Adobe Substance Mental Institution, maybe, I don't know. The only thing I know about this is that Brian told me a secondary preset which had something like blend in the title, like this here, PBR blend, and that means it's somehow better for something with transparency. So I have no idea what any of these means. So I'm still very much learning this. So I chose this and I picked this, and then I went ahead and said pick a file. And this is the spider bot, which is the little guy they give you. It's fairly detailed. It's been made in Blender, by the way, says the creator. And he shows somehow how he applied Vertex Colors, which is a principle I was already familiar with, which is, you know, exciting. Discard. Opacity channel, that was it. Yes, thank you, Brian. That was it. So the opacity channel, then, if you had a decal that has opacity in it, right? That is when you would apply that, like the one I did for Chris, the thing that had the opacity channel. That's something that would be acknowledged. So righty, before we begin, let's go and bake the maps out. And he did the same that I started doing, namely that without the normal and without the thickness on the ID map, if you want to bring in selection information with an FBX, it has to be an FBX because OBJ doesn't contain that information. You have to change this from like material color to vertex color, and this is neat if you've just flood filled material zones in Blender and then assigned it a vertex color. That is how you can essentially bring these the selection groups over, apply to all, because we have two sets here. Bake, selected. My favorite process to watch here. Twitter, I think the bot can tell you if you say !" Twitter, that will give you a link trader. Alrighty, perfect. So what I used to do, and this is another thing that this guy was showing me, that you can, I believe, let's say we remove this and we say we put a fill layer on this guy, and on the fill layer we could go and put, how did that work again? Something about a mask, right? Was this the mask thing? There was a kind of a color selection mask. How did that work again? See, I've already forgotten. Was it this way maybe? No, that wasn't it. Well, the good thing is he showed me a better way to do it. But what did I do now? See, this is totally not what I wanted to do. Just delete that. do it again. Put the fill layer on again. Was it a mask that I needed to put on here? Mask with the color selection. That was it. So yeah, this is it. So mask with the color selection. And then down here under the color picker, I can go and pick a color, and that will now show me the vertex colors from Blender. And then I can pick it and I say this, and then maybe that's going to be whatever, gold, I suppose, right, on the fill layer or something. I think I should have done that before, I think. Okay, let me try that again. So use the flood fill layer, then use this mask with color selection. I think that's how it works. And in the color selection, I then go and pick maybe this, and then only that is gold. Right, got that. That makes sense. But there's an easier way to do this, and I found that quite exciting. So if I go and delete that, I can go and pick a material and just control, I think, click and drag onto the object, and then it will show up all the vertex colors, and I can just go flood fill whatever I like, and it will set up these the mask automatically. So if I wanted to have this dropped in here, then this is where that'll be, and it'll just go and create this mask with the color selection automatically, and then goes and picks this thing, which is super awesome. So I thought that was neat. Put this to 5. There we go. Looks like a little space buddy now. Yeah, so that was new. I thought that was pretty cool. But that is, of course, only useful if you have vertex selections, right? I thought so too, Brian. That's really cool. But of course, it's only useful if you actually have vertex colors on your object. And I'm still looking for a script that makes that happen. I'd like, if any of you know how to do this, if any of you have a script like that, please let me know. I'd like to have something that in Blender goes through every material zone and flood fills it as a vertex color, so that I can then go and export it so that I can see the ID map like this. This is not set up automatically, and it's kind of tedious to go through if you have a complex object to make sure the selections are getting across. Just one of those things. No, vertex colors in Blender are they're a bit like in ZBrush, the actual color of the pixel on the outside. So the vertex groups are the groups. They're basically a second set of selection groups, but the vertex colors are actual colors on different zones. So I think I made a video about this recently. Let's actually check out how to do this in Blender 3.0. Ha ha ha. And maybe we'll use the cube actually. So vertex colors, you can give them in down over here over vertex paint. If you do that, then you can go and literally paint every single vertex if you choose to do so. You have to. I think you can go either face paint, fill something. I've forgotten how to do it, which is why I made the video, oh, that's filled with white. So let's go pick a different color here. Maybe it doesn't work on the cube because it only has 8 vertices. Yeah, but this is where you do that. And this is separate to the vertex groups, which are down here at the flux capacitor icon. So you can have different groups and different vertex colors. Man, absolutely, absolutely. And ZBrush has been using this principle for a while. So they had, for them, it was always called the pixels, rather than with an E, with an O. And that is how they did poly painting. So the idea was that in ZBrush, you have your base resolution model and you subdivide it multiple times so that it's extremely dense. But then you have so many vertices on the outside that you can actually paint on them. And if they're high resolution enough, you can bake textures from them. And this is how, before Substance came along, a lot of people did texturing. So one of those things. Titos, how you doing? Welcome. Let me just go subdivide this a few times in case, that'd be really good to show you this. So let's make it 5 here, like in both versions, and apply. So this should now, hello, yeah, there we go. This is now nicely subdivided. So I think with Vertex Paint, can't I just go and draw on this? Maybe I can't. Maybe it's... Emerga probably knows better how to do this than I do. Strength, brush, draw. That isn't it either. But this is technically how you draw on an object. If only I knew how it would work. Maybe, or is it because, do we have materials here? I don't actually know. Do we? We do have one material, yes, perfect. And it's UV mapped as well, right? Just checking here. Hello? Yes, it is UV mapped. It's so dense, man. That's me thinking I had a faster computer now, but maybe I don't. Maybe I'm going to go back to my old system after all. So yes, if we were to say let's turn this into a material zone. Maybe I can do it this way. So let's say we're going to make a new material. Hello. Still a lot of lagging going on here. I don't really know what is happening. Oh, did I not? Okay, that was probably my mistake. Enter. There we go. Make new material. It was totally my mistake. It's fine. And we'll say this is my selection. Let's just hope that works. And I go and assign whatever selected to that. Then I deselect and then I go and select. Yeah, okay, that works. So with this selected, I seem to remember you go over to Vertex Paint. This is now still selected, and you get yourself, you fill this with something. Save. No, we're not going to save. Right, yes, that's true, Emerga. And yes, exactly. The reason why I'd like to do this is because it lets you create other types of selections. But it appears to be an easier way to maybe for this not to be so necessary. How did I do this now? Is it mix, or is it kind of, was it something like fill? There's something like a flood fill option. And of course, I can't remember what that was now, or where that was. Was it brush? Was it texture stroke? Fall off cursor. Aye! There is a video on my channel. I'm sure you'll find it. Paint. Was it here? Set for Shift K. Was that it? Aye. I don't remember. What's this? Average. Smear. Select box. Anyway, this is how you do it, and then this would be blue as on a secondary kind of group, if you will. And then the most important thing is, if you are successful with this, you can go and export this as an FBX. I think that's the other important thing. OBJ doesn't carry ID Vertex Paints. So let me go and actually delete this. Bring in this other little robot so I can show you the implication. The robot that came with the project. I think that was storage, maybe. Cloud files, yes, yes. Dropbox, yes. We're getting there. Substance, and here's the Spiderbot. Spiderbot geometry. Perfect. Just so that I could show you where the stuff is. Thank you so much for subscribing, guest JD08. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Tina Velez, thank you so much for doing that also. Welcome to the stream. Here's Spiderbot. So it probably has. If I just go and select his, yeah, he has material zones, but there's no materials on there. So on here, and I'm hoping I can show you this. We have one body, and then we have the legs, and we have the lenses separately. But if I go and switch this over to Vertex Paint, I'm hoping we can see the Vertex color. So this is what it would look like. This is what you can paint, and you can create that from flood fills in Blender. So it's a bit tedious, and I'd love it if somebody could write a script for that. That'd be really good. Oh, Prussian blue. I don't think so. This is probably more like a pure blue. But so anyway, this is why we create Vertex Paint, so that we can go and pick this up in Substance Painter. But yeah, so like we've learned already, we can go and control click something over, and then pick these zones ourselves, which is really, really cool. So that's like number one super awesome, super awesomeness thing here. Should I maybe put that onto something else? Maybe these guys here. Yeah, let's make that silver. There we go. So that's already super awesome that we can do that. And that then goes and creates a fill layer, does the color selection map for us, and then basically just applies it that way. So hence, ID map, super, super exciting if you make one properly. But the other thing that you can do if you don't have that is apparently polygon selection that lets you pick UV islands, and I thought that was pretty cool. So let me see if I can remember how to do that. I think we go and do this with the flood layer again, and then we can go move this over here and pick is something. Was it here? No, that wasn't it. Was it here? With color selection. How did he do that again? Because that was a way that you could either select individual polygons or UV islands from the 2D view as well as the 3D view. So that was really cool. I can't remember how to do it now. Was it a mask? Was it this? Generator anchor point. Yeah, what a shame, I can't remember. Let me see if I can bring my other project in. That was, I think, unsuccessful test number 1. I think I had saved that there, just so we can have a look where that was, because that was seriously cool. That was really, really cool. And you're going to love it, Brian. See if we can make head or tail of this layer stack here. Did I put it on here? No, see, I've deleted it. But this is where that was. So he did it. Did he put it on a layer in a stack? What is this? Is this a filter here? Matte finish galvanized. Was that a filter that's applied to here? Yeah, maybe it was a filter. Filter empty, and then no, it wasn't a filter. I don't think it was a filter. How did I do it? Was it a paint layer? Was that how we did it? And do we then go and put a... Ah! What a shame. This is why it's so important to practice these things. Is it? Really? That lets you create an ID map. And does it? How does it work, Emerga? Does it go and flood fill it automatically from material zones? That is amazing. The text tools. I'm going to check that out. Does that come with Blender? Oh, thank you so much for the tip. If you can let me know what this thing is, how you apply that here. This is how we did it. There's something else that you can put on here. I just forgot what this thing is. Is it a filter that's applied to this? It's got to be something like that. Wasn't this? Was this preset layer? No. Group? No. That wasn't it. Fill layer? No. That wasn't it. It was something like this. White black bitmap. Was it bitmap mask? I don't think it was. Was it this? Levels, fill paint generator, anchor point. It's got to be. Is it something like this? Was it bitmap mask? Could that? No, that wasn't it either. Oh, what a shame. Was it white black height combustion? Wasn't it either? Oh. It's UV based. Okay, cool. Okay. I'll take a look at it. Text tools, that ships with Blender, doesn't it? Just out of curiosity, while we're talking about this. It does not. Okay, good. Gotcha. I don't think it ships with Blender. But if you have a link on Blender Market or so, then do pop it in the chat, Emerga. That'd be awesome. Yeah, what a shame that I don't remember this. But essentially, what you do with this selection is, was it maybe add a mask on this? Did he put a mask on this first? Yes, I think this is what he did. And then he went and put... Oh, I can't remember, whatever this is. It wasn't a color selection. It's such a shame that I've deleted it. It was a polygon selection, I'm pretty sure. I can't seem to find this anymore. Yeah, polygon selection. And then you have 4 options. Do you want to select by individual polygon? Do you want to select by UV island? Do you want to select by whole material? And that was all of a sudden, that was like, oh my goodness, that's totally cool. GitHub page, perfect. Pop that in the chat. That'd be great, Emerga. Thank you. And we're going to totally work this out somehow or the other. So it was applied to a mask. I do remember that. Then on the mask, how did he do that? It's kind of something like... I'm pretty sure it was called a polygon selection. Oh, that's what he referred to it. This is another thing I've learned. Instantiate a layer or a layer stack across multiple material zones. That was pretty cool. I didn't know that existed either. Yes, that was cool. So like in my case, I have these 2 texture sets. So I've got a body and I've got legs. But on the ID map, there is this green material is applied to both the body and the legs here. So if I've meticulously set up a material for this zone and I'd like to copy that over to this zone, I don't have to copy and paste the layer. I mean, I can do that, but a better way to do this is to instantiate that layer. So if it is, was it this? Yes, so this is the material here, this whole layer stack. I can go and right click and say instantiate across texture sets, which I thought that was pretty cool. And then when you go, this window comes up and says, would you like to instantiate that across the legs? And then you hit OK. And then this material is also going to be applied to here. But so the cool thing about this is that if you head over to the legs, on the layer, it just has this instancing symbol here. And it means that you don't have the full layer stack available in here to change, but it being an instance and all, you can go and make a change on your original layer stack and then go and say, well, if you wanted to change maybe the color of this, then the color changes in other areas of your object as well. So that is also pretty nifty. I thought that's cool, especially if you have meticulously set up something that has dirt and grunge and stuff, and you have to now go and copy the whole thing over to 5 other material zones. You can just instantiate them, and then, you know, Substance Painter will take care of this for you under the hood. Right. It's a paint layer in the mask. Right. Perfect. Emerga, this is awesome. Let's go and get, you guys have worked it out. This is awesome. It's a paint layer in the mask. So we go into the mask and then a paint layer in the mask. So we add a paint layer. This is it, right? This is exciting. Yes. I think that's what he did. Paint layer. And then what do we do? Then instead of painting, you can change the tool to select polygons and meshes. Instead of paint, where would I do that? I remember these few little icons down here, I think. On the far left, the icons. Oh yes, you're right. This is it. This is totally it. This is exactly right. This is a different tool. Right, it wasn't the brush tool. It's a paint layer, but then you use a different tool to fill it in. Emerga, this is it's exactly what I mean. And this is kind of the cool thing. So you can see the overlay on here already, which is so cool. So this here, I think, is the polygon fill. The color is a little bit unlucky now, but I can go and pick individual polygons. That's fine, I can do that. But I can also, maybe, do we see something like at the back here that's not filled in? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so I can fill individual polygons, or I suppose also just unfill them somehow. Or I can go and use this thing here, which was mesh fill. So that would fill the whole mesh that I'm selecting here, which is very cool. So that, once again, that's good for selecting pieces of the mesh, or you can go and use this. Was that it? That is UV chunk fill. So that's cool, because then you can either use this on your 3D model here, or you can go and switch over here, I think, and then pick the UV islands you want to fill in. So you just go and pick this, and then that will just fill in that one island. I thought, this is exactly the missing link that I didn't have when I was texturing Chris's bits and pieces, because they were, whoops, sorry. Ugh, God, what did I do? I didn't mean to do that. I meant to move it. Thank you so much, Emerga. That was exactly it. So just to refresh my memory on this, and so was in the mask, you create a paint layer. Instead of painting, you use this little gadget here to say polygon fill, and then you pick either here or there. It's all totally fine. If you wanted to pick, what was this? These are triangles, polygons, or meshes, like the whole mesh, or UV chunks. And then you go to town and say, yeah, that needs to be filled and that needs to be filled. That is super cool. And you mask this off that way. So that's awesome. So if you have that tool, you don't actually need to have the ID mask, because it's kind of technically what you'd split up there. If you know your UVs or the UVs of the object that you're texturing, then you can just select them from here, especially if they're not that many. So super exciting. Neville needs to go to bed. Yeah, no worries, Neville. Thank you so much for hanging out. Good night indeed, yes. And thank you, Trader. Yes, I feel strong. It's good. It's been a tough journey, and I've been I'm making it a life philosophy to only do what I really, really enjoy, and literally cut the crap out of my life that makes my life miserable, even if it's just a little bit, because it'll just take energy away from you being what you could be. So thank you. So these are the exciting things that I've learned from this substance course, which I'll link to in the description. Maybe I can try to recreate this little robot literally from scratch, because I have so much to learn. I really greatly appreciate you guys helping me through this. That should be good. Pick the little spider bot. I'll see if I can recreate what I remember. So it's really nice to see so many options to select. And for me, it's very important to understand the workflow, and maybe we can make it happen so that we export this little guy and try to import him into DAZ Studio and render him with the maps that I'm applying there. So literally from the beginning. Let's see if we can make it happen together. And it was all done without painting. It was literally just all these little select this and put that on here and be all, funky and groovy. So I'll just go to this here. And I think the first thing he did was he deleted this paint layer, I think, and he started with a layer group, because he made kind of a two-tone robot here. I think this was kind of orange and this bottom bit was kind of blue. He even had a little swatch sheet is the word I'm looking for. And I'll open that up here at the back. The whole thing also comes with a PDF written instruction document, so that's kind of cool. If worse comes to worse, I can always try and read that. So that's kind of nice here. They had little swatches here, so from which you can then pick the colors. So I think, yeah, maybe not. Maybe not, Brian. That would be interesting. But hey, maybe Rococo can do it. Who knows? Cancer is not easy to defeat, Trader. That is absolutely correct. And I had so many of my family members also die of cancer. And back in the days, like when your father died, it would have been the same thing back 20 years ago. They've only discovered this one drug that really turned cancer, especially colon cancer, around, but that's not effective for all types of cancer. They've only discovered that in the late 80s, and up until then it was all experimental chemo treatments, and this one drug really seemed to work for many people. But what they've just recently found out, and this is really interesting to think about, is that back in the day, they were under the impression that cancer, like there are different types of cancer, like breast cancer, colon cancer, lymphoma, and all those things. They thought those were the groups, and sometimes treatment works and sometimes it doesn't. And now they know that there's those groups, but there's so many different subgroups of that. They behave almost like viruses, in that there's not colon cancer, there's like 400 different types of colon cancer. And depending on what type you have, they can give you a particular drug that will then work. And they're still working on figuring out what the indicators are. But that's how far they've come only in the last 10 years. So this drug that I had, immunotherapy, Keytruda, that's the same drug that Jimmy Carter had, which is very cool. So he had the same treatment that I had, and for him it worked, and for me it worked, and we're both totally cured of cancer, which is not something that was around 20 years ago. You were always in remission, and remission meant we're all waiting for it to come back, and that seems to have changed now. So you really have we found this drug that does work, and not just kill cancer to the point of it being asleep somewhere, kill cancer as in it's cured. So should it ever come back, we also know the drug that would kill it again, which is kind of cool. But from the indications that I hear from my doctor, he says, no, it's not really how it works anymore. This is a drug that literally just kills cancer and then it's gone and you're rid of it, which is like a completely different ballgame to what we used to do back in the day. Oh, your dad died of brain cancer. My goodness. That's crazy, Brian. When was that? Nate, very funny. What did he do? I think he started with a paint layer. Did he? No, actually, he started with. I think we can probably do this with the color selection. So there's a plastic. This is how he started. So Control, click that in and pick. Oh no, hang on. I haven't baked my maps yet, have I? Ha! Totally need to do that. Let's go bake the maps and make that 2K. See, these are the things that I keep forgetting. No normal, no thickness, and then in ID map, and this is important, you got to pick Vertex Color because he has a model that is that has Vertex Color on it. So then you need to also say, because we have both the body and the legs, if we've made a change, we have to say apply to all. Otherwise, the legs are being baked without this change. So let's go and bake all of them. And then we can go do all kinds of funky stuff. Pamela, what a shame. Yes, YouTube sometimes does that. It gives you your notification when the stream's nearly over. So you go, hang on a minute. Glad to see you though. All right, that's baked. And I think then he went and said, Control, left click and drag, plucky stuff over here. Now we have these, colors to choose from. We put that on here, and that is kind of the base color. I think then, oh, hang on, did we want to put that into the layer grouping? Yes, that's what we want to do. I think that's what we want to do. Put that in here. And then I think he goes and picks this color here. This was also quite nice. So the color picker and the swatch, that was quite cool. So he goes and minimizes this a little bit and goes and picks the color just by left clicking and dragging. And now we just go over to the orange, and that is then my defined color, which is groovy. Boom. And I think then it's on to making that not shiny and perfect. I think now it was all about some kind of grunge filter. How did we do that? Was that a generator? I think so. I think it may have been a generator. No, it was a filter. I think it was a filter. Filter. There we go. Filter. And on filter, we put grunge over this. No, we don't. What a shame. Do we galvanize it? Yeah, I think galvanized finish. I think we do that. And then it gets these little bumpy things, which we can change the flake intensity and whatnot. And also probably under attributes, I think don't we go and change this from some projection to another? Was that under texture settings? No. Was that not under here? See, this is where I'm totally getting confused. How to make this guy less shiny? Oh yeah, it was on here, wasn't it? Yes, here. So less shiny, make him a little rougher. And also make him a bit more metallic, because it's a metallic guy. And then, wasn't it that the filter thing here, do we not need to do something about the scale? Yes. We make that a bit more like, you know, flaky robot here. Maybe this. I think. Don't quote me on this. Was there also something like intensity a bit less, maybe? Yes, I think so. Less intensity. Gotcha. Oh, Pamela, how exciting you're using iClone as well. That is cool. Brian is your man. Brian knows it all about, he knows a lot about iClone. Maybe like this. This is neat. Okay, cool. Bit of metallicity, a bit of flaky stuff. Now, how do we do the grunge stuff? That is another thing we apply on here, I believe. Is that a generator? Yes, I think that's a generator. Generator. Gotcha. Generator is cool because I think that makes the grunge something. No, that doesn't make the grunge either. Dripping rust. How do we do the grunge thing then? That wasn't a generator. Was that a filter as well? How did I do that again? Because that wasn't paint. Was it a fill layer maybe? Could have been a fill layer. Is that possible? Maybe. Oh, I don't remember. Because it's only a few hours ago that I've learned it. Dang. So there were grungy maps are in here, like this. There's grungy maps here. Grunge. But how do we? What do we do again? Oh, I think. Is it coming back to me? Let me go and do this. Undo this fill layer, and also undo the generator because we're not quite at that point yet. I think. Do we just go and click on this material, and then under the roughness map, we don't just go use a flat value here. We use the grunge map for this. So like grunge, whatever this is. Grunge brushed. What's this? Hello? Grunge charcoal. Maybe we'll do that. We just go put that on here. Or even better, we don't. And we just go and click this. Mini shelf opens and we say what happens grungy wise in here, right? Is that what we do? And then we pick it from here. And then we have this effect. Oh, yes. Add a fill layer and change the color for the grunge. Yeah, exactly. That would be an idea too. And then with this, I can go and do balancing things, which is also seriously exciting. Don't exactly know what that does, but then you can increase the contrast of the map and see what the effect is on that. Brush pattern. Oh, and most importantly, I think, was it under attributes? Or was it under here? UV projection. We should change this to triplanar projection. And then it looks less wonky, I think. I think that's what he said. I'm trying to remember so hard. It's Rusty Robot. Okay, awesome. Perfect. I think. I forgot what we do with the other materials here. I'm sure we do something. I can't quite remember. Pamela and Brian, are you guys... have you spent enough money with iClone so that you get the iClone 8 upgrade for free? I think there was some kind of deal that you can either wait and just upgrade for a certain amount of money if you're coming from iClone 7, or you can go and spend about $800 on their store before Christmas or whatever, and then you go and get iClone 8 for free. I think that's how it works. So you can either just get the upgrade and pay for that, or you just pay up front and get some content, and then you also get iClone 8 in the process, I think. One of those things. What else did I do with these materials here? I'm sure I did something. I think they maybe just like plastic grainy. Maybe I'll use that. So Control, left click and drag onto these things here. Oh, that's not what I meant. Do we have to be inside this? No, do we have to be on a mask for this to happen? I thought we were creating a mask. Control, left click and drag onto these guys here. Like to, hello? It doesn't let me do the ID thing anymore. What's going on? I do have to go into here then. Is that what I need to do? Control, left click and drag. Yes, there we go. So that's now black plastic. I like it. Right. Man, this is difficult, I tell you. Difficult. But then this isn't in the layer stack. Isn't that supposed to be kind of inside here? Yeah, there we go. It's so much to learn. It's just so much to learn. Don't we all? Pamela Bryan has just released his NFT collection. Very exciting. It's about tulips. Very cool. You should watch it. There's a little introduction video that he's made, and that's very cool. That was very neat to see that. I might just go and make the scale a little bit mess with that. Where do I do that? Is that in here? Roughness, color. Oh, there it is. Scale. To crank that up. So make that something like this. I like it. Oh, also, this is something I've discovered by accident. If these sliders work a little bit too fast for you, you can hold down Shift, much like in Blender, and then you make the slider go slower. So maybe I'll just use this. And I'm also going to change this to triplanar projection. Or was that a good idea? I can't tell. I think that was actually better with UV projection. I think I might leave that just so that there's this and that detail is pretty much the same. Okay, cool. I like that. So the more interesting bit that he did that I remember, and I'll just go and color these things and maybe in a kind of a glass or reflective thing. Maybe there's like a shiny plastic I can use for these things, and maybe they're kind of lenses or whatever. So I'll go and Control, left click and drag and put that onto here. Well, maybe that doesn't look bad in blue. Maybe these are kind of less blue. Maybe they're emissive blues. That looks nice. Yeah, the yellow looks quite nice. Then maybe we can have these types of glasses here. It's glass. It's shiny. It's awesome. But then, so the most exciting thing that he then did was that he put. And Emerga, you'll probably know this, there's a kind of a wear and tear modifier that he's put on there, and that was just so cool because it looks at I suppose the occlusion map maybe. It just literally looks at where there's an edge, and then you can basically wear that off a little bit, and that looks so super cool. I just don't remember what that was. I think that was a generator now. I think. And I think he added that, was it to the mask? Maybe even? Generator? Could that be? And there is a generator that is called the wear? Yes, the metal, fiberglass, metal edge wear. Oh my God, this is it. This is exactly it. This was seriously cool. I think you put that on there and then it goes and rubs off all these little edges here with whatever is underneath it. And I'm not entirely sure why, in my case, we're seeing yellow. I suppose it's kind of whatever's on here. So I should maybe not use that in the layer stack, or I should use maybe a shiny metal instead here. Maybe I should do that. So I'll go and take this out and bring in just a shiny metal fill layer. Is that how we do it? Galvanized iron, that's it. Let's go and use this. Put that on in here. I think, is that how we do it? Okay, fine. We'll do this then. And let's say this is the color underneath my robot. I'll make it a little bit darker, and just in the color, I'll make it a little worn off. And perhaps I can have a look at the scale here that I can never quite remember where that is. There we go. Let's make it maybe like this, and perhaps it's shiny underneath. So, and then I think we're going to put this generator guy over that. Is that, no, that's not what we do. That's not what we do. We go and put this, don't we put that in the layer stack at the top? I think that's how we do that. I think. And don't we then go and add a mask to this? Oh, I don't remember. And that's not how we do that either. Dang. Yeah, I really can't remember. Can we put this onto here? No, that doesn't work either. Do we do this then? Because with the yellow it kind of worked. I just don't know where exactly that came from. Black mask first, then the generator to the mask. Right. Gotcha. So black mask first. Let me just do this again so that I can, you know, I follow your bits and pieces. I'll go here. I'll say black mask over this whole thing. Groovy. I see the mask. No. Is that correct? Yes, it is, isn't it? And then the generator goes to the mask. Is that right? Add generator. Check. In generator, we're going to say metalware. And then metal shines through. Exactly. So now we get these metal edges here. That's very cool. That's awesome. So that's exactly the effect. That's exactly the effect. And then we go and put, oh my God, that's too exciting. It's too exciting. Where are all the parameters for the wear level? Great. We can make it worn much more or a little bit less. I guess it looks at the curvature of the object there to make it more or less worn and scraped off. It's the wear contrast. That makes it all blend in with this. Super exciting. Triplanar blending contrast. Fiddling with sliders. Not entirely sure if I should be doing that. Grunge amount. Yes. Give us more grunge, man. There. Really battered robot. Poor little guy. It's happening everywhere now. Also on the little lenses here. Well, you see, this is where Substance Painter is your friend, Pamela, because then you just export maps and they're no longer procedural at that point. Oh, this is so much fun. This is so much fun. I think he also added something like a gradient that made this kind of effect less at the bottom and more at the top. Actually, there was something else. He added another thing to this now, which was kind of a dirt effect, kind of a sandy dirt that then went all into the crevices and stuff. Man, that was just next level stuff. I don't know where he did that. I think that was another fill layer, maybe. What happens in Emerga if I put this into my layer group? Is that possible, or is that going to ruin everything? Let me try it out. Does that work? Yeah, actually it works. It's just at the top of the layer stack, so I can just go and collapse this. Oh my goodness. Yes, not to overdo it. That's absolutely right. Yes, because you just have so much fun with it. All of a sudden, it's no longer subtle. It's now, you know, a little bit what's the word, too much. But it looks so cool. And now every time I look at a stonemason robot that has this effect, I'm thinking, Substance Painter, all right. See if I can remember how he did this dirt effect. So I think, was that not another layer of it was something like this maybe? Plastic matte pure, I think. Oh, pure, Nate, that was it. He's been on the surface of Mars for the last 4,000 years, so that's just what you look like after so many storms. Let me see, can I just drag that into here? Is that how it works? Yes, I think, maybe. And now if I go and make this like a mud color, I'm thinking. Now, of course, what do we do now? I'm sure it had something to do with the black mask, right? Applying noise to objects in ZBrush is a lot of fun too. My goodness, yes, ZBrush is another whole playground altogether, isn't it? Do you know, I recently got into Painter. My God, that was another rabbit hole I fell down into. I totally fell in love with it. This is literally another one of those missing links. If you haven't tried Painter, I think you can just about get yourself another that package for Painter 2021 with a ton of brushes. Also comes with Paint Shop Pro that lets you apply super nice painterly effects to still images. And Painter, my goodness, what a cool thing to create backgrounds, to turn your renders into something like an artistic impression of what it was, like an oil painting also. Absolutely amazing. If you type in, let me try this, exclamation mark Painter, that offer might still be good. Yes, the gamers, that would also be possible. That would also be possible. And many Photoshop features are kind of in here in Substance Painter. So sometimes you don't need that round trip to Photoshop because many of these things are actually in here. Right, Emerga, exactly. I'll let you know the special formula if I remember it. Do we also get a black mask? I think it's a black mask, isn't it? Boom, everything's unmasked, it's perfect. And now on the mask, do we now add that generator, I think. And the generator that I mean is, yes, I've forgotten what that was called. It was something like Crevice or something. I'm sure it wasn't Crevice, it was something, was it dust? No, was it smudge? No, it wasn't wear. It wasn't fiberglass wear. It was something else. It was like the thing that ends up in little corners. What do you call that? Is it like the dust? Something? No, it wasn't a dust thing. Dang, if I can only remember. Well, let's just go through them, shall we? Can we display them as a list, maybe? It might be better over here, just to have a look at what are the filters. These filters? No, textures, alphas, brushes, filters. There we go. Good stuff. I'm just going to go and look at these as a list. Baked lightning, clamped, glow gradient, invert mask outline, matte finish, galvanized, grainy, grinded, hammered, coated, poor little guy, rough, book, edge wear, max phi, edge damages, water dust, mirror, sharpen, transform, warp, triplanar, advanced. Man, I don't remember what it was called. There's so many of these. Micro details. You can use an AO map to control where you want that. Oh, I don't know how that works. Pretty sure this was galvanized, grain, grinded, hammered, circles, coated. Was it coated maybe? Could it be coated? Height to normal, that's possible. Color match, clamp, bevel, baked lighting. These are stuff I really need to make notes of these things. That's usually my process. I watch this and then I try it, and then whenever I've got something new, I need to write it down, and that kind of really gets it into my brain. Gradient, I don't think it was that. Height to normal, that kind of sounds vaguely familiar. Brushed, linear, galvanized, grainy, grinded. Rough, edge wear, damages. I think maybe weathering. Was it weathering? Let me try that. Let me try weathering. Oh, it doesn't want to do that now. Oh, because I'm looking at filters rather than generators. It could have actually been a filter. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe it wasn't actually a generator at all. Light metal position, dripping, grayscale, dirt. That was it. The dirt one. It was totally the dirt one, I think. Dirt. And the edge thing could indeed work on corners, right? I think it's dirt. Let's put dirt in here. And now all these little crevices are filled in with dirt. Can you see that here? These are rubbed off, but all these little things have been filled in with dirt. Like especially over here. So we need to do a little bit of work. Again, I think the what's it here needs to be set to triplanar projection again, I think. Yes, all these crevices here. There's like tons of dirt now here because it's all grimy. Dirt level, make it dirtier or less dirty. Isn't this cool? This is just so cool. Dirt contrast. Yeah, crank up the contrast. Everything that could possibly get dirty is now dirty. Isn't this cool? I love it. Use triplanar false or true. I don't know. Is there a difference? Use custom grunge scale. Yeah, baby. Give it to me. Edges masking. What does that do? I have a feeling I still need to change that that projection a little bit, because I feel maybe not. Maybe I feel like there's all kinds of weathered stuff down here, but not on the front. I have a feeling the projection isn't correct, but I can't quite find a way to change that. Was that under texture settings? No, that's probably under here. Attributes maybe. And maybe dirt doesn't have that. It could be. The triplanar projection thing. Maybe it's just this. But that doesn't change the front all that much. Oh, saving. You're saying something. Maybe I should try and save it as unsuccessful test number 3. How's that? That'd be good. Yes, you can. It is so much fun, isn't it? I think that you're absolutely right, Brian. It's just so cool. The more you discover also how it works, and you think, oh my God, there's me thinking I'm going to have my tablet and some brush, and it'll be like a painstaking process of doing all this. And yeah, you can do that. But if you have generators that help you along with this, my God, that's just so cool. And then the other thing I think is just so cool is this hold down Shift and then right click and then have your HDRI turn, so you can see, well, what does this effect look like from all kinds of angles. That's just so cool. They really have thought about this, and you can tell they've been doing this for a while. I love it. So the other thing I found really cool was that now that we've worked on the body and we've got everything in one handy layer group, we can go, like I said before, we can go instantiate that across the whole texture, the other bits and pieces, and say legs. And now the legs also look like this. Isn't that exciting? That is just so cool. What else do we need? Do we need maybe something black that's not quite so worn out yet? Maybe the grip or something? And the top, maybe those things Maybe they should be a different color. Maybe they should. I feel like we're missing another color somewhere. Maybe these legs here. Or maybe we can try and give, yeah, maybe the back. Maybe the back and the bottom. I'll see if I can give that a different color. I'm not sure how yet, but we'll see. We're working on the body still, and the back. I wonder if I can I duplicate this layer and essentially use this as a on a different, just on this object. So I'll say keep all the imperfections, but just change the color of this. That should be doable, right? I'm thinking. I don't know how to do that though. I'm thinking let's go and duplicate that. Duplicate the whole layer stack and call this one color 2. I think that's what he did. Or color 02. And for that, I think we just pick. And see, now I'm a little lost because I don't remember where my selection originated. Like these things, are they color selections? No, they're not, are they? This one, maybe this one. Oh, this one here, that's the one. Plastic, glossy, pure. That's the one. So if we go and change this this color, first of all, somehow. Is that how we do that? This here. And we say this is now going to be some kind of a green. So maybe like a cyan. Or purple even. Purple and orange. Yeah, that'll go together. Blue. Okay, blue. Let's do this. Let's do that. And then, so now this is all applied to the front here, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to, no, maybe make that green. Maybe like this. Like a darker type version of that. Earthy. So then, this here, was that a color selection? That was, wasn't it? Color selection. There we go. Yes. And I can go and say, well, not you, but instead, just you. Yes! That is how it works! And then also, can I not add another color to it? This is all green. I mean, this is all red. So I'd rather not. Maybe then, maybe the top, can we do that? Yeah, maybe that. Yes! I like it! Ha! Robot! How you been doing on Mars? Now we have 2 different colors, but the same effect. Ah, this is cool or what? Oh my. Add the mask on a folder, right, that is also possible. Hey, this is exciting. I'm super excited about this. Let me go and save it. And let's say, because we have a little bit of time left, thank you, absolutely, for an old dude, and B, for a dude who's really just, it's difficult for me to get this all into my brain. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me and doing it with me for a guy your age. Yeah, exactly, that's the spirit. I love it. Let's see if we can go and exactly, Pamela, that's exactly my idea. Let's bring this guy out and see if we can render him in DAZ Studio. So this is going to be ever so slightly advanced because of the amount of maps this thing is going to export undoubtedly. But hey, it's part of the process, so let's hang in there, take a breather, have a good cup of coffee, and we'll see if we can get all this out somehow. Got the geometry already. I've saved it already, which is good. Yes, that is true. Brian is right. There was a guy who was saying, it's just totally random, and left a comment on one of my videos. Hey, for a dude your age, you're not doing bad at all. And I was thinking, I'm sure that's meant as a compliment. I don't remember if it was on a gaming video or on a 3D video. We could also put decals on this, but I might just leave that for when I know how to do this. How do I export maps again? Let's see. We're going with File, Export Textures, right? I'm thinking. That's start. And we may have to set up 2 materials. I'm okay with that. I'll be okay with that. So output directory. Let's go and make that happen. Maybe on my desktop. I had this. No, actually, that's not my desktop. Let me go into my. Let me be all organized and stuff. For here, spider bot. Maybe I'll call it DAZ or just maps. Maybe just maps. Maps is good. Maps. In here, that's why we're going to put them maps. PNG, I'm good with it. Output template, PBR metallic roughness, that's probably okay, right? That's probably okay. Size, based on each texture set size. That is, I suppose, we had it set to 2K. I think that'll be okay with me. Dilation infinite. It looks creepy, but it's fine. Transparent will also work. I think they all work. I don't think it matters. Dilation infinite score. Let's do that. Oh yeah, okay. Tiny bit of negative height on the bright metal when you export the material details. Oh, let's do that. Let's do that. I'm going to go and save the settings because I think this is how I want to export it and where I want to export it. Export shaders parameters. Ooh, okay. Sounds advanced. Let's go save the settings. Where would I do that? Emerger. Let me go and figure out. Let me put this here. So this would then literally be worn down. Negative height would mean this would be slightly lower. I do like the sound of that. How do we do that? Metal edge wear. That's the thing. Do you know, I don't think Adobe do that. Thank you so much for the thought, but I think neither Adobe nor Steam do that. If you're thinking of picking it up, there's a really good offer on right now on Steam, and Steam don't do affiliate deals either. The Humble Bundle do, but I don't think you can buy it through Humble. Let me have a quick nosy. I don't think Humble Bundle supports that. Humble is the other people who give me a cut, but I think Substance Painter is not part of that catalog. Yeah, so on Steam, you could, if you don't want to do the Adobe subscription, because that's $20 a month, you can get it currently for 100, just around 100, one-off payment, and you only get Adobe Substance Painter. So that's a really good offer because that's basically 5 months of subscription payments. You get to keep this forever, which is nice. You don't get the materials that the subscription with Adobe give you, and you don't get access to Substance Creator, I think, and Substance something else. There's like 3 products that Adobe give you for $20 plus 20 credits, I think, a month. So it depends which one you want to go. So the Adobe Store only has a subscription. They don't do a perpetual license anymore. You can only get it for $20. Or there's another package for $40 a month, I think. That gives you also access to Substance Stager, which is essentially like a 3D rendering engine. But I don't think that's useful because for us, because we all have other things we'd render this in, you know. So I think Painter is the most useful. The other 2 you get, and Emerger might know more details there. The other 2 we get let you create materials from scratch, like procedurally. You can create your own substance materials with that. And then the third thing, I don't actually know what that does, but that's all in the $20 package. 40 is too expensive. I totally agree, Rafet. I think 20 is already kind of borderline, which when I got it, it wasn't actually available as a perpetual license, which is why I'm so excited about the Steam deal. If you're happy about perpetual licenses and you don't want to do subscriptions, the Steam deal is the way to go. It's currently discounted. It's usually $150, but because it's kind of a Christmas deal or whatever, you get it for around $100. So one-off payment, one of those things. The MRU Studios and all of you at the MRU Studios have joined us. That's cool. Commander Cody, welcome. So let's see. Emerga, talk me through this. Where do I add the negative height and how do I do this? So this, no, that's not it. This here is where micro normals, micro height, uniform. Is this where I should be doing that? Yes, 20 is okay if you use it much, and also you do get these materials. So this is something that the perpetual license doesn't have. So you get the, I think, 20 credits a month that you can use on the Substance store and then buy yourself new materials, build yourself that material library, which is great because they just keep rolling over. If you don't use them, you just accumulate like hundreds of credits over the year. So, and you can indeed try for 30 days before you buy. Yes, it's part of the Creative Cloud package. And if you have Creative Cloud, you can just go and download it from there and test it. Oh, is it? Is that Refed? Is that the full version of ZBrush 2021? Not the core, not ZBrush core, like the full version. $200 is not bad. Negative height. But I don't remember if I do this here. I think maybe on the mask. Is that why I do that? I don't think so. Maybe it's here. Micro normal, micro height. What happens if I put uniform color to something like lower? Do we see anything? Or higher? No, I don't see anything. Maybe this is not where I need to do that. In the main material that you used as a shiny metallic. Ha ha ha. Let's undo. The shiny this was it here. Iron galvanized. This was it, right? I don't recall. Was it this? Yeah, this is the dirt. Oh no, hang on. The dirt is here. That's it. No, this is the other material. Sorry, that's the other color. So the dirt, that should be the dirt. This here, iron galvanized. I thought that was it. Could also be plastic diamond. That's got to be it. This here, in this material, as height. So there's definitely height in there, but how do I mess with it? Oh, that's too much for me, Emerga. Select the most left square in the metallic galvanized. So the most left one, check it out. This is it. This is it. I'm on it. Yeah, so this is the material. This is the mask. And this is a generator on the mask. I think I'm understanding this. Beginning to understand that. So I'm going to the material. And I've got the metal color, the roughness, and I've got... That's it. Oh, height, there we go. But how do I make that negative now? Metal color, metal roughness. There's also finish here. Flakes intensity scale. Oh, this is awesome. What happens when we do this? Oh, other things happen. I don't know if I want them to happen. What is flakes intensity? Do we want it flaky? Yes, flaky. Flake it, baby. Yes, that's right. Okay, tell you what, let's do it next time then. Let's see if we can just get this poor robot out and into DAZ Studio. Let's do that. And we'll worry about the height next time. I do love the idea though, because that's exactly how it would happen. You have the metal here and you've got a thick-ish layer of paint and the paint is scraped down. So I'd love to see little indentations where that is. See what we can do. Let me go and see if I can export this now. So export textures. This is it, right? Export textures. We are where we need to be. We don't need to do anything else, right? We don't need to go and bake stuff and whatnot. I can just hit export and it'll get 12 textures selected for export. Let's try it. Let's try it out. That was it. Hey, that wasn't bad. That wasn't so bad. That wasn't so bad at all. We have him in Blender already. We could, maybe we'll leave that for another day. Let's set this up in DAZ Studio. 4.16 public beta version. Make the orange go up a little bit. Yes, absolutely. No, don't worry, Emerga. I'm so glad that you chip in, because it's through these types of tips and guidance that I actually learn. So I very much appreciate that. Let's not use this on second thought, because my interface isn't set up properly. DAZ Studio 4.16.1 out, DAZ Studio 4.16.0 in. Do you know, Pamela, I'm still learning it, and there are things that you can pick up really easy in Substance Painter, and there are things that are a complete mystery to me. But it's a bit like Photoshop, so even though Photoshop can do a ton of stuff, you probably find yourself using about 10% of it, and learning the 10% isn't impossible. So what I've found difficult is getting started, even. So this interface looks at you and you think, now what? So there's a little dialogue that you can pick, like just a little figure onto which you can then start painting and just doodle around, see how it works. I found selections difficult, and masks, and then masks within masks. That's all very, very complicated, but you learn these things. So there's 2 really nice tutorials on their website, actually, that will get you started. There's plenty of others who make really good Substance tutorials on YouTube. But those do get you started, and if you just follow along, it's very unintimidating, and it's a very nice presenter there as well. Forgot his name. Actually, he never said. Dropbox, Substance, Spiderbot, Geometry. That's it. And they give you this as well. They give you this, and they give you a pair of roller skates that I've also started with, and that is it's just a joy to follow along and explore. It's important with these videos that they tell you things, watch it through, and then watch it again and do it step by step, and pause the video, and get used to how this works that way. Roberta's learning a lot. How exciting! You'll have to create a layer group for the edgeware, move the mask to the new layer group, and then add a new layer with only the height exposed, and then you'll have the option. This sort of stuff, super difficult for me to understand. It kind of makes sense when you say it, but that is Emerga's right, and he knows his stuff. If you see some of his designs, amazing stuff. He does this all the time with weapons that are that have wear on the outside. Oh, I see. So we have actually 3. Oh, come on, seriously. We have 3 bits and pieces here. Got the body, the legs, and the lenses. They're 3 separate objects, but we're okay with that, because we only really need to set up our shader once, and then we can go and hopefully, no, we can't. We need to set up 2 materials here. So one for the body, which I'm not sure why that is blue right now. Let's see if we can muscle our way through here. So these are, first of all, not array properties. So I'm going to go and have to convert them. First order of business. Boom. Array material. Check. And that's just the body, so we're just dealing with the body right now. In base color, what is this? That just says it's not found. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Perfect. Let's go and put the base color as Spiderbot body base color. That's the one. That goes in here. Yes, look at that. Looking all colorful there, my buddy. Very good. Getting there already. Diffuse roughness. Let's go bring that in. Spiderbot body height metallic roughness. There we go. That's the one. And even though we have a map, we need to now go and tell it to use it. I don't know how well that comes out in Filament. Perhaps it doesn't. I should also, just because I haven't set this up yet, I need to go and create a new Filament Draw Options node in here. And in that, I need to go and crank down the environment intensity to about 6,000, just so that he's not as blown out. 6,000 maybe, but let's go 8,000. So it's not quite as hot. And then also I'm going to switch off the MIP maps here. So we're looking at the actual textures, and not something that's generated on the fly. Let's go back here. We've got the base color, we've got the roughness, glossy roughness, sorry, that's where we need to put that. Roughness, there we go. Yes, that does something. Then we also have a normal map, I believe. This little guy here. Ding, normals, oh yes, look at that. And then we have a little bit of a metallicity thing here. Let's pop that on as well. Metallic map. And we need to crank that up, otherwise we're not seeing the effect. I think filament doesn't bring that out either. Did I switch this on? Yes, I did. And that's already all we have. We do have a height map, but I don't think DAZ Studio takes it. So I think it could be the bump map. You could try that in there, but I think I'll leave it as it is. So that's not so bad for the body. Let's go with the legs. And then the lenses, I think they're part of the body. So let's go and actually go and grab this material, copy selected surface, and I have a feeling that the lenses, we're just going to go and paste that onto there. Can I do that? No, because that's not an iRay material. So let's go convert. And now we can probably paste that on there. I don't see it. I totally don't see it, but that's also okay. I'm thinking the lenses I'm not that worried about. They're okay this way. Let's do the legs. The legs, same thing. Go convert to iRay. And then under base, let's do this thing. Put on the iRay. Okay, no worries. Good point. Yes, don't be intimidated by these things, Pamela. It's actually, you can pick it up, and it's a lot of fun. 2 GPUs thanks to my riser cable. Well, so this isn't at all what it looked like in substance. I gotta be brutally honest. And I don't actually know why that is. But maybe we'll go and figure it out in a moment. I was going to put this to square here. There we go. Yeah, I don't know why it looks like this and not as deep dark orange as I had it. Let me go and put the legs on here. So that's also under map, spiderboard legs. Ding, there we go. Actually, that's under glossy. Glossy roughness will get the legs. Roughness. There we go. And then we have bump. Did I switch this on now? Glossy roughness there. That's that. And bump map. Let's go give us normal map for the spider legs. And then we go with metallicity. Crank that up. Well, comparing the two little guys, I'm thinking there's something not quite right about this. Do you know, triangulation can actually be set in DAZ Studio? Maybe it is that. It could well be. So we have to do this for every piece here. Edit, object, geometry, triangulate. Let's try that. Only the current geometry of the selected object will be converted. That's cool. Let's go do this thing. If it is in fact the culprit, Oh, Link in CNT. Link, I'll call you Link if that's okay. Could be that I've applied it wrong. Yes, let me have a look at that. Let's try all these things. It's not frozen, it's still calculating. So it's busy. Give it a second. There we go. Triangulate it. And it looks like triangulation hasn't done the trick. Let me go and see if Link's trick will work. Metallicity. You say, is it not flakes weight? Yes, what was I thinking? It's got to be flakes color, of course. That's got to be it. Body metallic. Also hasn't really done it. Flakes roughness. Flake size. Ay, caramba. No, don't know why it doesn't look like in Substance. That's a good thought though, Link. If you have other thoughts, do let me know. I will, just for a laugh, I'll just go and triangulate this here as well. Object, geometry, triangulate. On the side, yes, probably also for the front lenses here, why we don't see them. So let me go and triangulate all these things. Yeah, especially on the back. I've had this before, and this is how I actually found out that DAZ Studio can't triangulate on its own, which is kind of cool. Import as DAE. I only have an FBX, so I could do this. I could futz this in Blender, but this is the original FBX that I've loaded into Substance Painter. Oh, Gino, no worries, no worries. Try your best. If it's, I'm gonna go back to the Surfaces tab in a minute, Link, and then you can tell me where I should try what, and maybe we can make it work. That'd be really good. I'm very inexperienced with metallicity maps, so I appreciate this. Triangulate, yes, you can in Blender. I like the idea that you can basically triangulate on the way out. I mean, this is another perfect opportunity. This seems to be a very high-res model as well. There's a perfect opportunity to decimate it in Blender and then use the high-res model to bake the maps, make the low-res model, and then apply the high-res maps from Substance on a low-res model in DAZ Studio. And then we have a much more fluid experience. All these possibilities that you can, it's just so exciting. Yeah, DAZ Studio, just for the record, it hasn't crashed. It's just, it's still triangulating. It's actually iRay, but yes, basically iRay, V-Ray, there's not that much of a difference. They also use iRay in Substance Painter, by the way. That is iRay. And if you're familiar with the render settings in DAZ Studio, many of them sound very familiar in Substance Painter. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, V-Ray, Mental Ray, and iRay, they're very, very similar in their approach. It's just different kind of marketing name. I think, not that the shaders are compatible, so that's kind of where that falls over. Clo also uses iRay, so also interesting information there. They also use the iRay engine to make that happen. I don't know if they call it that. Come on, DAZ. It could just be as simple as yes, that might yes, absolutely. And why don't we try that while we wait for Thingamajig to do its thing here? If we go, let me just actually have a look at the maps, just to see what they look like. Substance Spiderbot map. So this is the color map here for my little guy. That is actually the color that I'm expecting. So I think it's exported it properly here. It could just be that I just need to set I usually just set the base color of the shader to white. So this is another thing we can try. Ha! It's come back to life. So Link, let me just go quickly back to the body here under metallic flakes. just make that a bit bigger here. So this is what I'm doing here. Weight, what happens if I make that 0? Right, I think, yeah, if I drill this, if I switch this off, then I don't really have that anymore. If I turn this on, maybe it's just 1 is just too much. Maybe it just needs to be enabled to a certain extent. Or this mustn't be white. It could be that if I make this 1, this needs to be something like a medium gray. And then we're getting closer to the truth here. You can, you can override it that way. I think so, to be really honest, the way the Iray Uber shader works is actually complete overkill for applying a bunch of maps from Substance. So what I'd like to see, and I don't know enough about making my own shaders in DAZ Studio, what I'd like to see is a shader that literally takes 5 inputs, the end, not like 450 million inputs with 4,000 parameters to adjust, because all I want to do is whatever the maps are, make them work. And I'd like for there to be literally 5 options, like for stupid people, or for people who are busy like me, and for stupid people also like me, who just want to go, hey, these are the maps, pop them in, make it work. I don't really want to deal with metallic flakes, roughness, flake size and strength. Not for me. It's great that that is available for a particular shader, but for the one shader that we need to bring substance maps in, I'd like to have my own, but I don't know how to make that work. So, but I will try the export settings now. Base metallicity. I'm on it, my friend. Base metallicity. I don't have it. It's called metallic flakes. There's flakes and there's thin. This metallic flakes, that's the only thing we have in the Iray Uber shader, I'm afraid. It is a total mess. It's great that it exists. It's wonderful that there's legacy compatibility, that you can put a 3D Light material and render it in Iray, and it's kind of there. I really like that. It's wonderful, but there has to be another way. And those who know their way around the shader mixer can actually make that happen, but sadly, I'm not one of them. I think in Iray there is, but I think in the Iray Uber shader, I don't think it's exposed that way. Right, one for color, one for black and white maps, and then there's a normal map. Exactly. A bit like in Blender. Blender thinks about this that way as well. Color, non-color, pop it in, make it work, boom. Or it's general. Could be. No, general, we only have the material ID and nothing else. There's base. Base, there's mixing, PBR metallicity roughness, or glossiness, or weighted. Those are the choices. We could change that. Weighted. Does weighted do anything? No. Then there's diffuse. We've had that as well. Dual lobe specular weight. Not sure if I ever need that. There's glossy something effect. Scatter, transmit, something else. Glossy layered weight. Refraction index. Thin film bump. That's in base. And then in metallic flakes. Flakes roughness. Should we crank that up? Is that good? Hey, maybe that's good. Let's maybe put that back to white. Are we getting somewhere? No. This is bad. Metallic flakes roughness, that's uncool. Or maybe we'll just put the roughness map. Maybe we just need to put the actual roughness map in here as well. Let's just see if that works. Does it? No, does nothing. Oh, we need to crank it up, of course. That does not do that. It has done something. That's cool. Flake size, flake strength. Flakes thin film IOR. No worries, Martina. Thank you so much for dropping by. I know it's a bit of a tech-heavy session. Maybe we'll do a game next Saturday. The word base, yes, I'm on here. I'm on it there. The word base. This is it. And then these things, they just filter out what is in this ever so slightly overlong list. So, these are the things that are there. But I'll let you have a look. Oh, there's metallicity under base. Oh, man. Really? Is that what we need to pop things in? Do you think? Could be. I mean, It could be that I've screwed up many other things now that I need to now take out. So you reckon, oh, I need to switch it on as well. Duh. It could be that some of the other things that I've adjusted are now influencing that. So I thought this needed to be on white. And maybe some of the other things like metallic flakes, maybe I'll just go and take that out. Let me go and put that. Yes! Yes, 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 yes. Look at that. I think that was it. Haha, and yes, great minds think alike. Oh, that is so cool. I've never seen that before. Metallicity, look at that. You're the man. You're all the men and the women. That is so cool. Let's do the same thing for the little legs here. Oh, this is exciting. My God. So here, metallicity. Go and use my little this one here. Legs, no, here, this one. Put that in here. That's his legs. And then metallic flakes on the legs. We're going to go put that to 0. All right. And then this here, we thought would go away with triangulation. I guess it didn't. Because I did triangulate this. It's okay. We'll pretend it's not there. We know it's an easy fix. If it was a snake, it would have bit you. Absolutely. See what we can do with the lenses here. The lenses, I don't see the lenses. They didn't even have a separate material, so I'm not entirely sure why. What's happening here? Let me go and copy this material here. Copy and apply it to my lenses here. It's also called body, so I would imagine maybe it's the same material. I can't really see the lenses coming out, so I don't know what the problem is here. So just out of curiosity then, and before we go, let me just try and triangulate this in Blender, this model here, just for, we don't even have to export it as an FBX. We can go and just, I suppose, also join this into one object, right? Control J. Now it's one object, which is called lenses. Let's not do that. Let's call it spider bot. And just making sure that the material zones are still intact. We've got the body and we've got the legs. So this is now more or less what we see in Substance. Oops. Man, 3 different apps. Each of them have different modifier keys. Of course. Let me go and export this now. Export as OBJ. And then we'll bring this into DAZ Studio and see what happens. Maybe also go put that into, where were we here? Spiderbot thing. I should really have that as a little shortcut somewhere. Yeah, let me do that. Cloud Files Dropbox. That is going to become a new, do we call it bookmark? I suppose. There. Dropbox, and I'll do the same with my OneDrive because that is also where I frequently pop things in. There we go. So here in Substance, Spiderbot, Geometry, I suppose, Spiderbot, and we want to go and forgotten to triangulate, of course. Duh. Selection only. Triangulate faces there. And with polygroups. Keep vertex order. Everything. It's going to be good. Right? Is that something different, Emerga? I thought when we go triangulate faces, will this do it already? Or do I have to use a modifier? Guess we'll find out, shall we? Let's see. I could have also decimated it on this occasion. I totally didn't think of that. Dang, brother, this is exciting. Let's see, it's still working on it. Let me go and switch iRay off here for a second. And maybe even save this as a scene here. substance spiderbot DAZ scenes. We will get to the bottom of it. Spiderbot trial 1. Oh, really? Whereas I've just now foolishly triangulated everything. Let's see how it comes out. I appreciate it. We'll see what's what here. Let's go and import my man, the spiderbot.obj. We'll see what the scale looks like. This could be super tiny, it could be super massive. It is in fact so tiny it's insane. So let's go bring that in slightly larger. Thinking along the lines of 100 times larger. I haven't fixed it yet, Pamela. I'm hoping... oh, actually, yes, we have fixed it. It was Link's suggestion of using the actual metallicity channel that I've overlooked. That is what fixed it. And because it was so cool, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna totally do this again. This parameters. I need to set this up 8,000. Alrighty. I've triangulated the n-gons on output, and we'll see now I've combined the object as well in Blender. And let's see, these are IRA properties. So here's the thing, metallicity is this thing that we should have put the metallic map in here and then crank it up. Metallic, gotcha. Base color, this is so much fun. Body base color, check. Correctness has returned. Also, triangulation issues more or less gone. I like it. Actually gone. Let's call them gone. That's good. And my lenses are back. See, the lenses weren't there before. Now that I've amalgamated the object into one, it's all good. Then under glossy, I think, there's glossy... no, it's under diffuse. Is it? No, it's under glossy. Dang, glossy roughness. Put roughness map in here. Roughness, that. Yes. Also put roughness map up to 1, otherwise we don't see nothing. Then bump normal map. And what do you think? Should we use the height map in the base bump channel? Or am I being ridiculous here? What do you think? Take care, Kevin. Thank you so much for dropping by. Much appreciated. Very good. There's always a reason to stream to Facebook. I love it. So base bump, we can try that in a minute. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to make a difference. Yes, yes, Link. Thank you so much for the tip. Finally, I found a use for the height map. Pop that in here, pop it onto, well, maybe not 50, might be a bit much, but it also actually might be phenomenally, wonderfully exaggerated. I think 1 is probably enough for what we need, just in case we need an exaggerated effect. Link, you're the man. I really appreciate these tips, man. Nobody talks about these things. You bang your head against the wall trying to figure it out. That's a spiderbot body done. Let's do the legs. Same thing, we'll try this again. Base, first thing, metallicity. That's this guy. Spiderbot legs is this one here, metallicity. Crank it up to 1. Having metal here. Base color. Awesome, this guy. Base color. Then we go to glossy. Glossy roughness, which is this. Spiderbot legs, glossy roughness here. Switch it on to 1. Then we go to bump. Normal map. Normal map is on. Base bump is the height map. Man, this is gold. And height map will set that. I forgot what we set the other one to. Maybe 10, was it? Just to see a little bit of an effect here. And if it's too strong, we know what to take out. Ladies and gentlemen, first render. Cienfuegos. ¿Cómo está, muchacho? Aha! That looks surprisingly similar to this. And any variation in color is probably due to the HDRI now. Displacement, yes, that indeed, yes, it is trial and error, which is why I'd love the foolproof option where nobody has to go through this agony and just has, hey, we have 5 inputs, these are where your 5 maps go. Case closed. NFT it, yes, the NFT bot. Man, I'm so happy about this. Why don't we render out a quick turntable animation of this guy? Because I'm in love with him. So we can see him from all sides, and we can do a bit of good stuff. Maybe with the I'm just checking the bump detail. I don't want to overdo it. So this is a good giveaway of how the bump detail works here. So I've put it to 8. I think so. Regularly, if you just use a map, I think 1 should be plenty. But if you want to exaggerate it, I suppose you can go mess with it. I might just put it to 1, much like on the. That's the leg. Sorry, wasn't even looking at the right thing, dude. No, it was the body, wasn't it? Body. Bahump, I say. Yeah, that's 10. So let's put it to 1. No, not to, yeah, 1. 1. Let's say 1's enough. Unless we did like that exaggerated bump detail. Maybe it's just a bit too much. I do like that the rust kind of pops a bit, but maybe 50 is just a bit much. Maybe 10's enough. Let's do 10. Carl, have you seen my NFT collection? Most importantly, I have one. I think the bot will tell you this. And then, of course, there's Brian's NFT collection. And then if Pamela has one, if any of you have NFT collections, please drop them in the chat. It'd be awesome if we could get some traction going there. I think maybe is this 10 too much? Shall we do 5? Let's do 5. And I'll do the same on the legs. And then let's go render out a little turntable here. I'm tempted to give him a little backlight. Yeah, let me go set up a couple of lights here. Just because he deserves it. He totally deserves it. We'll have so my idea is to kind of have one from here. One spotlight. Apply viewport transform. Spotlight is here, so this is my key light. Oh, come on. Key light. I could just save this out and load it in every time. I just forget. I'll go and aim it at the spider bot. There we go. It's kind of at his bottom bit here, but I'm okay with that. Then we probably want a little rim light from here, maybe. Create a new spotlight from viewport transform here, and we'll call this one rim light. And that will also pop on the little spider bot here. We see where they are and what they look like. This is what they look like. Alrighty. That's not bad. We'll go and put this into iRay mode. Just checking the effects. The HDRI is a bit much. So I'll go and put that to maybe like 0.2. That makes it very dark, but we will get some maybe 0.3 actually, 0.5, something like that. Then the real poppy lights, they come in here with this. So key light parameters light. And we'll go and say the light geometry is going to be a disk. This is going to be 50 by 50, just so that the shadows get a little bit softer here. And then we make the photometrics pop a little bit. We'll start with 50,000. Yes, little spotlight on him. We make the temperature a bit lower, say 4,000. And if we needed it a bit higher, we can make it. We can make that like ×2. That might be a bit much. It's also a bit yellow, so we'll say 5,000 is light temperature. It's still a bit yellow, isn't it? Let's leave it at 6,500 then. 100,000 is probably. Let's make it. Yeah, I can't decide. Let's make it 75,000. Okay. Now rim light. Rim light can be nice and strong. I don't mind it being the point light, but it needs to be 100,000. And then we get that nice little highlight here. I'm thinking, yes, tool settings. Let's make this here the world coordinates and then just move it down a bit. Let's see what that looks like. I'm looking for a little highlight here, which I'm getting, so I'm kind of happy with that. This also, the key light, I don't want to render the transmitter, so the emitter rather, sorry. Render emitter off, and then that disk is going to disappear. Alrighty, let's set up a little camera for this. Like so, and then he can go and rotate. So I'll maybe go and set it up like this, so that we have a few frames before the rotation kind of begins here. And just make sure he's in the middle, like so. Neat! We turn this into camera, create new camera from perspective view. And with that, we'll go set up the turntable animation. Alrighty, I'm on the perspective view. It's all good. I can go and do this now. And I'll say over 160 frames. It's a total 161. And we go and essentially rotate the spider bot. So on frame 1, he's like that. On frame 160, he would have turned around by, let's say, -359. This is Y translate, wasn't it? I meant to say Y rotate, -359. Ding! We don't really see a difference, but the moment we turn him, he goes and turns, which is awesome. So now, in an ideal world, if I look through the camera and I go and play my animation, a little guy turns. Ha! Yes, that is a good question, Brian. Are you going to keep adding to the tulips? Okay, one more thing. That is to grab these keyframes here of the little spider guy and change its interpolation to linear. When we do that, there's no acceleration, deceleration. He will just go and rotate at a constant speed. This is kind of what we want from our little guy. There. Should we save the scene? Because Spiderbot Trial 2, in which we've learned so much. This is really cool. I love that we've got it all on tape. So if anyone wants to rewatch things, we can all do that and learn from this. And, you know, thank you so much for all your tips. It's really, really nice. It's wonderful. How long do we, let's see, one frame. So we will render quality disable, max samples, maybe 200. We use the denoiser. And how long is one frame going to take? At what resolution? 6000 by 6000, a little bit much. Maybe 800 is probably plenty. How long are we talking in regards to render time for 200? And what's it going to look like? Yeah, so I'm thinking we could probably do with more. We could probably do with let's say 500. Oh, come on, dude. And I'm also thinking I should add there. Not quite. I should add a little vignette to this. Under tone mapping, I can put a little vignette around this. I could also do this in Photoshop. I'm just thinking maybe is 500 better? And then I added kind of a dark background in Photoshop. I see. Yeah, we need more, don't we? I mean, he looks so nice. I think even if we make it 1000, it's not going to be much of a difference. But it just looks so much better. I'll give it 1000, and then I'll go and render this out, and then I will go and put this on my ArtStation page. I'm thinking, so before we go then, just so that we can see this guy rendered out properly, let me go and use the viewport rendering engine instead at 800 by 800. That should be okay. And then we go and make this shall we do a movie file? Let's do a movie file. It's not going to be great quality and all that, but it'll be all right. Spider bot. And then we're going to put this maybe just on the desktop. There. So this is now going to render this out in Filament. So it's not going to look phenomenal, but you know, it's gonna be all right, just so that we can have a quick look at it. Hello Popeye, how's it gonna be? What's your life like right now? How you doing? We say okay. Right, 9 only, Brian. That is good. Yes, keeping them ultra rare, and they're all uniques, right, Brian? Just checking it out. You didn't do quantities on those, right? I mean, the other question that I have for you then, Brian, is are there going to be other collections forthcoming at one point? Sure, Pamela. Yes, absolutely. And tag me on Twitter when you do. It'd be good to good to get everyone's NFTs together and you know, have a look at them. All uniques. All right. I am alive. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm doing good. Thank you. I'm actually having a really, really good day. Also, in part, thanks to this wonderful session where so many of us have chipped in and shared the knowledge. It's just, this is what I love about just hanging out like this and just geeking off over very, very complex 3D applications. Wonderful to see you. Yes, I really appreciate all your help, like Emerga, Link, Brian, anyone else who's chipped in with bits and pieces. This is wonderful. Haha! Intel something codec. This is awesome. Let's go and save it. It is so cool when that happens, because everyone benefits, you know? And I feel like this makes the world a better place. We started in Substance Painter with things that I've learned and applied and recreated. Only 3 3D applications today. Big reveal. Let's have a look. Oh yes, here he goes. Repeat. So there. I feel like we could make this a little bit slower, but I might do that in editing, or I might just give I might just make it like 240 frames or so. Hey, this isn't bad. I don't know why it jumps. I'll have a look at that. Yeah, I don't know why it jumps. I'll have a look at that. I'll fix that. But hey, not so bad. Isn't it nice, Brian? Yes, absolutely. Like this could be an NFT. I'm thinking this could be a really nice NFT. as an animation. Once I get rid of the pop, this could be the AVI render. It could be that I haven't rendered enough frames. It could be, I'll have a look at that. But hey, this is what we've made together. Isn't that cool? My friends, thank you so much for dropping by and hanging with me. It's been my pleasure and my privilege. I keep saying this, but I do want to have a few Twitch sessions like this in the afternoons around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's right, Link. Absolutely. Filament isn't so bad in this regard. So it can do certain things really well. I think it struggles with reproducing scene lights and HDRIs accurately, so you really have to tweak that. And it has a massive issue with transparency still, but you know, it's early days, so I'm hoping that at one point that's gonna improve. I'm hoping to have sessions like this on Twitch in the afternoons, like little exploratory sessions, like how to use Painter to make backgrounds for this now and stuff like that, and also delving more into Substance Painter and things like that. I will, of course, keep you posted if and when that happens. The best thing really is to watch my Twitter feed, or those of you who join me on Discord, on my private Discord service for supporters only, you can also get notifications there. But I post them on Twitter as well as Discord. Thank you so much for hanging. Have a wonderful Sunday. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.